A very good morning to you. Thank you for joining us here on Global Television. I'm sure you had a great weekend, and the fun and all of the relaxing you had this last weekend would have prepared you for this very challenging yet promising week that is already right in front of us business-wise. This is welcoming you especially to Global Morning. I'm Uyi Agmofwegbe, and my colleague who also believes that, no matter what is going on between Nigeria and the US right now, we can weather the storm because he's not ready to run away from the country, just like the rest of us. Ramsey Enoch Agbo has also registered his presence on the show this morning.
Yes, of course. We can't stop being Nigerians,
right.
No matter what. Mm-hmm. And of course, no matter where you are as a Nigerian, you still have the right to life and, of course, the right to what is obtainable in your own country as a citizen of that country. So we are still proud Nigerians, irrespective of what anybody think about us. You know, what you think about yourself is superior to whatever anybody think about you. But then if it is actually in the real sense of it, if it is making sense, because I need to put that clause, of course.
Right.
So beautiful morning right here. It's good to have you.
My delight always, right?
Looking sharp as usual.
Well, I learned from the best.
Needs to drop.
All right, so quite interesting. You know, this last weekend, one of the biggest conversations in our dear country was about this US-Nigeria row, which again forms a crux of conversation on the show this morning. But it didn't stop Nigerians, as always, from having the Owambe moment, if you know what I mean, from enjoying themselves, you know, unwinding, relaxing, and leaning back a little just to do something away from the normal hustle and bustle. But it doesn't change the fact that Nigeria is at a very interesting point in its history as a country. Before now, we would always focus more on the election in 2027. What is the ruling All Progressives Congress doing? What is the coalition up to? What are the other opposition fronts? All right, cooking, that sort of thing. But now it will appear there's a drastic shift from that sort of conversation to what is now going on between the United States and Nigeria regarding this claim of some sort of genocide in the country, and what the response has been like from Nigeria. For many people, it's not so much about what the US is doing right now. It's not so much about the rhetorics coming from the White House or even from President Trump himself as the leader of the free world, as it is about how Nigeria is handling the situation, how Nigeria is responding, whether it is from the media handlers in the presidency, those who are in charge of the president's media, or calling out from concerned, public-spirited Nigerians, all of whom have also been speaking to these developments.
Yes, of course. I think the reactions coming from Nigerians is baffling because almost everybody, just a few minutes ago, I'll show you Soludo's reaction, the governor of Anambra State. Before then, I've seen reaction from Bwala. I've seen some write-up, which they said came from the president of Nigeria himself, where he said there is going to be a meeting between himself and the president of the United States, maybe like it was done in South Africa back then. But then, reaction, I first of all saw a reaction from the spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And then a lot of people reacting. And Nigerians too are also reacting to the situation because some people will tell you, genocide, whether it is Christian or Muslim, our lives not being taken by some of these unscrupulous elements. These men, all right, that call themselves terrorists or whatever. Is there no kidnapping? Is there no banditry in the country? But then I think stories like this, people look at it from different angles. Some persons are looking at it from the angle of the fact that Christianity, all right, is attached to it. Some persons are saying both Christians and Muslims are facing this genocide alike. You know, some persons are saying, all right, churches are being burned. Some persons are saying mosques are being burnt too. Then some persons are saying, don't we really have terrorists in the country? Then some Nigerians are saying, well, even if you want to assist Nigeria, is this the best way to put it forward? All right. Some persons were actually reading out instances of what has happened in some other African and Asian countries, where there have been this kind of interception by the United States or other countries when they have situations like this, and what were the aftermath of it? Was it positive? Well, how did it go in those countries, and all of that? Sudan has been on fire for a very long time. There have been war, a lot of things happening. Then people are asking questions depending on the angle from which they are looking at the situation. But I think the bottom line is this, the reaction of our own president and Nigerians and how it's really going to end. Because the most important thing here is how this whole situation is being approached,
right?
Because of a truth. Terrorism, there is terrorism in Nigeria, and the world know about it. But then, I think what Nigerians are even more concerned about is they should be able to travel the highway without the fear of being kidnapped. They should be able to go to their worship centers, whether Muslim, Christian, pagan, or whoever you are, and go worship freely and return back home. What Nigerians are saying is we should be able to go to our farms like it has been in the past, not being scared whether they will be kidnapped or not, whether there's going to be a bomb being thrown in the market, terrorism, whether people will come in the form of guerrilla attack at night to set a whole community on fire for reasons best known to them. I think what Nigerians are more concerned about is this situation, not whether it's been tied to a particular religion. But then the way it is right now, I think if this terrorism can become a thing of the past, whether I'm not even concerned about the fact that some persons are claiming, it started as a political tool or whatever. A lot of people have made different kind of claims. And what's happening right now is not different from the various claims that different people have heard from their different school of thoughts. So I think what the Nigerian government should be thinking about right now is how this banditry can come to an end. If it is something for you to say, all right, I have food. All right, come and eat. It is left for me to say, all right, I'm okay, I'm satisfied, I'm not hungry, I don't need your food. It's just so I have something on the fire already, cooking. So it is just a plain situation. All right, we can handle this situation. We are putting our arsenals together. Of course, we just had new service ships. We are still waiting for what they will bring to the table. Even if you want to assist or do anything, just hold on. We will get back to you. If from this time to this time, we are not able to arrest the situation. So what I'm trying to say is that there are better approaches to this situation. But then, Nigeria is still a sovereign country. Nigeria is still a country, just the way the United States is a country. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, just the way Donald Trump is the president of the United States of America.
That's right. Brilliantly put together there. Thank you, Ramsey. We're going to take a quick break now because there's so much for us to unpack for you in the course of the show this morning. Let's bring you a bit of motivation as we get the show started. Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Efforts and courage are not just enough without purpose and direction. No matter the effort, no matter the courage, if there is no purpose and direction, it's just a waste of time. This is coming from John F. Kennedy. It's a beautiful day. I'm so excited to inspire you. I'm so excited to be on your way so we could talk heart to heart today. What are we talking about? We want to look at purpose. If purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. You see a lot of people messing up their destinies today because they don't have purpose for their living. They don't have the purpose, the reason why they are living. If you ask some persons today, what are you living for? They don't even know. Some persons don't have a goal. Any man that everywhere is a direction for him is a directionless. It's not going anywhere. You don't just follow people to do everything anyhow just because you see people doing it. Just because it's trending, you just jump into doing it. What is your purpose for doing that thing? Well, we want to look at purpose today. Just like I said, John F. Kennedy have said effort and courage are not enough without purpose and direction. What's your purpose in life? Which direction are you heading? Where are you going? Are you going with the crowd, or you have a goal, you have a pursuit, you have a purpose? When purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. Why? Because you tend to behave anyhow, because you're not going anywhere. But if you know your purpose in life, you know what you want to achieve, you know what your targets are, and that's the reason some persons, before they even get out of the house in the morning, they already have their to-do list. This is the number one thing I'm doing today. This is the second thing. Then at the end of the day, they look at their list and see what they have achieved that day. These are purposeful men. John F. Kennedy have said that effort and courage are not enough without purpose and direction. Purpose gives meaning to our actions. Whatever we do, whatever decision we want to take, we want to make today, purpose gives us direction. Purpose gives meaning to our action. Whatever you're doing today, somebody should be able to say, well, this is the reason why this young man is doing this particular thing that he's doing. This young lady is into this thing for this purpose, for this reason. Your actions and decisions will be defined, all right, by your purpose in life. Your purpose in life is defined by your action and decision. That's the only thing that gives purpose meaning. Any purpose that does not have action, that does not have decision, people who do things anyhow, I don't think they are heading anywhere. Without it, as a matter of fact, we may work hard and be brave, but still feel lost and unfulfilled because there is no purpose. You're working hard, you're brave, but still you feel lost. Sometimes you just sit down and think and begin to think, what have I achieved? I have done these things for this number of years. What is the purpose for what I have done? What have I achieved so far? So we may put in the work. It's not all about the hard work. There are people who are working very hard today. There are people who are working bravely, very brave workers. But then all of this will still feel like you still feel like you're lost in the crowd. You still feel unfulfilled if purpose is not attached to it. Because what purpose do is this: purpose helps us align our energy, shapes our goals, and offers what we call deeper experience. Why? Because that is what we do behind the scene to give purpose a focus. It acts like a compass. What does it do? Pointing us in the right direction and reminding us of what matters most. If you're a purposeful man, let me give an instance. For instance, let's say you're a businessman or there is something you're doing. Then, anytime you do research, you do it around that your endeavor. You know what? That direction, that thing you keep doing every day, as you keep doing it, you keep moving towards your purpose. It keeps giving you direction and reminds you of what matters, which is purpose. Because the only thing that matters to you is what you want to achieve in life. That's the reason sometimes the way you live your life, people may be asking questions. Why is this person so focused? Why is it that this person refuses to be distracted? We need to learn from ourselves. If you see someone who is going somewhere and you know this person is going your direction, if you're a purposeful man, you ask questions. How are you able to succeed in this endeavor in life? When we know our purpose, even the hardest tasks can become worthwhile. That is John F. Kennedy's quote. And this quote underscores the importance of intentionality. It's not enough to just be busy or brave. What truly counts is whether our actions are aligned with greater vision. Purpose-driven individuals are more focused in whatever they do. They are more persistent no matter the obstacle, no matter the trial, no matter the distraction. They are very, very persistent and more content inclined because they know that their work has significance. With purpose, our talents are better used. Our challenges may be bearable. Yeah, you know, whatever you're going through, I've heard women say, well, I need to stay in that marriage because of my children. So women say things like that. If you counsel, if you speak to married women all the time, you hear some of them, especially those of them going through challenges. They'll tell you, I will bear everything, all the challenges, all the problems because of my kids. That's because there is a purpose, there is a reason why they are bearing those challenges. The same thing is applicable to your purpose in life. And our lives will be more impactful if we are purposeful in life. Our lives, what did I say, are more impactful if we are purposeful in life. Like I said, we all need to know that purpose-driven individuals are more focused in whatever they do. They are more persistent and they are more content inclined because they know that their work has significance. Their work have a target. Whatever they do, they don't just behave anyhow. You know why? Because with purpose, our talents are better used. You don't do everything. You know, your time is streamlined. 24 hours in a day. You know that, yeah, for this purpose, for this reason, for this goal, for just this, I will need to allocate like maybe 10 hours to that purpose. There are challenges, but you try everything possible to overcome it. And our lives are more impactful. If you see a man of purpose, the way they live their life is different from the ordinary man. The way they behave is different from an ordinary man. But when you don't have purpose for living, you are into a long thing. Yeah, well, I don't have much to say today, but then I think in our subsequent talks, when we are bringing the word of encouragement, inspirational, talk heart to heart, we'll be able to break one or two things. Well, this is the size of the words today to you, the inspirationals, the hearts to hearts, but then remain purposeful in whatever you do. I am Ramsey Enoch. Thank you for being part of this inspirational today. Bye-bye for now.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
All right, let's turn to the papers real quick for you. We begin with the Daily Sun. The headline adjacent the nameplate here. It says Igbo group in U.S. fought Kanu's continued trial. That was on the Daily Sun for you today. And then we move next to the Star headline, still on the front of the Daily Sun newspaper. PDP plus survival strategy. Two riders with that headline. Governors, Board of Trustees consider takeover a caretaker committee option. Intensify efforts to resolve crisis. ASU rejects federal government's proposed 35% salary increase for varsity lecturers. And then the writer there tells us, insists on NIMI BRICS salary benchmark. Rising costs, weak demand squeeze Nigeria's brewers. Those details are on page 2 of the Daily Sun newspaper for you. Joining APC in Bielsa's interest, says Governor Diri. We knew this was going to end this way when the governor resigned just last week. States making progress due to unity. Oboriwori, that's his Delta State's counterpart, they're talking. Incidentally, those are the headlines, quite a few from the Daily Sun this morning. Let's move to the next one, which is the Nigerian Tribune, and Ramsey has those headlines for us.
Thank you very much. Let's quickly move to the Nigerian Tribune and see the headlines that we have there. Just above the nameplate, we have a couple of headlines. And the first one says, MAN projects 3.1% real growth, 10.2% contribution to GDP in 2026. Just one rider to that story, and the first rider says, calls for approval of 1 trillion naira stabilization fund, expansion of BOI capital base. A troops kill terrorist, arrest 20, rescue 17 kidnapped victims. This is coming up on the Nigerian Tribune. We still have this headline which says Zenith Bank post 917.4 billion naira profit before tax in 9 months as gross earnings rise 16% to 2.27 trillion naira. Details on page 7. A CPPE endorses a 15% fuel import duty. One rider to that story, and the rider says policy will catalyze local refining industrial growth. And of course, the big story now, which says country of particular concern. Why it means, what it means for Nigeria. We have a couple of riders to that story. Economic sanctions, international isolation, ban on IMF, World Bank loans, others. These are some of the things they said it means for Nigeria. Then the second rider says Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab, designated entities of particular concern in 2023. Tinubu to meet Trump over Christian genocide claim. Presidency is the one saying that. Then, of course, U.S. should assist with technology to combat insecurity. This is a suggestion coming from Kwankwaso. Then Lamido is also making a statement here, and that says that Tinubu should convene meeting of past Nigerian leaders. That is coming from Lamido right there. Still to the issue of the People's Democratic Party, where we have a kicker which says PDP crisis, uncertainty over control of National Secretariat. One writer to that story says anxious stakeholders, the staff members fear possible clash. Tinubu's economic reforms essential for Nigeria's growth. This is coming from Opebolo. Details on page 25. And of course, those are the headlines from the the Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning.
All right, we'll flip it over now to the Punch newspaper for you, which again has the story about Nigeria being designated by the United States authorities as a country of particular concern. But first, let's begin with the one adjacent the nameplate, having the picture of Governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, and Minister of the FCT. Here's on Wiki. It says PDP crisis, Makinde bloc regroups as Ortom Fayose back Wiki. The big one with a kicker says CPC blacklists 12 Nigerian governors, other officials may face U.S. sanctions. Quite a number of angles to this development. Government officials, judges risk asset freeze in new U.S. law. Tinubu U.S. VP may meet amid tensions. Those interesting details await you on page 2 of today's issue of the Punch newspaper. Cool controversy. Silva's brother, driver still in custody. Student loan applicants hit 1 million. That report is credited to Nel Fund. On page 3 of the Punch newspaper today is where you would find those details. And on the foot of the front page, bottom left, doctors dispute federal government's 11.9 billion naira payouts. Strike continues. Again, that you would find on page 3. NDLEA arrests musician, uncovers Lagos illicit drug laboratory. And finally, Diri joins APC today, cites Bayelsa's interests. I mean, every governor who moves from the PDP now to the APC continues to cite the interests of the state as a basis for doing that. They say they want to be connected to the center, whatever that means for politicians. But there's a story of public interest here, which is on page 6. The headline reads, NDLEA arrests musician, uncovers Lagos illicit drug laboratory. Ramsey, you and I have talked about all of these issues time and again. I mean, I was looking at this headline on my way to work this morning, and one of the several thoughts in my head was, how many more laboratories remain undiscovered? How many more do we need to unravel? Because as it stands right now, it appears the people behind all of these syndicates, if you like, mining drugs in the country, are using every means available. They are exploiting every front. So I won't be surprised tomorrow if the NDLEA comes out and with facts, real time, telling us there's this particular media outfit. All right. I mean, one that we have known as a media outfit the whole time, and drugs had been found there, because it's becoming embarrassing. It's becoming really concerning, because up until this time, you and I would have thought this was a laboratory for real, or this was a boutique where clothes are sold, or this was a superstore, or this was a school, or a place of legitimate business of some kind, duly registered, regulated, what have you. But today it will appear that things have flipped real fast and real badly, that every other week it's almost a guarantee that the NDLEA will shock us with some very weird revelation.
Well, I think that question is apt for you to say, how many more laboratories still existing, yet undiscovered? I was even surprised when I heard drug laboratory. You know, what really goes on there? Who are the people involved? Most times we hear situations like this, and if you want to dig in, you will discover that it is connected to some of the creme la cremes of the society. And these are the reasons why you may not hear so much being done about this. It has been discovered. What will be done? What effort would be put in place? Well, we need to give it to the NDLEA.
Right.
I think recently, NDLEA have been discovering, they've been arresting and all of that. But then, how many more do we need to discover? Nigeria is facing so much already. I was speaking to someone, I said, most of these people who carry out these dastardly acts, they don't just do it with their clean eyes. You know, some of them take drugs to do this thing. Then how common has drug become in Nigeria? You know, these are some of the things, the questions we should be asking. maybe your child may not be involved in drug dealings right now, but then the way it's going, if this situation is not being arrested, it's going to cause us more harm than good. And we are a nation struggling with so many things. If we must arrest insecurity, cybercrime, and of course terrorism as it is, then we also need to ensure that drug trafficking, drug usage, like we have the laboratory now. You can't tell me people working in the laboratory don't do drugs, So we need to arrest all these situations, make sure these things are calmed before we can even talk about arresting the form of negativities that we have in the society today.
All right, Ramsey, what more can we say? But let's move on to our next paper now. And this time it happens to be the Vanguard newspaper. Ramsey has those headlines for us from the Vanguard newspaper.
Oh, all right. A few headlines from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Let's quickly flip through the headlines. On the Vanguard newspaper this morning, we have this headline which says INEC challenges before Amopitan by Jega. Soludo gains momentum in Ekusigo, Newe South. That's for Anambra State Obsequio election. Yesterday we saw Soludo in a media parley with some very big media houses and presenters yesterday. Trump, now to the big story. Trump is the kicker. Outrage over plan to attack Nigeria. Is it really an attack? Did they say they are going to attack Nigeria? Maybe you can pick a copy of the Vanguard and get more details. But just two writers to that story. We are working assiduously with the Americans to combat banditry, terrorism in Nigeria. That's coming from the federal government. The federal government say they are working assiduously with the Americans, right, to combat terrorism, banditry, which has been devil with the nation. U.S. envoy Watts invites Nicki Minaj to discuss protection of persecuted Christians in Nigeria. Insecurity doesn't distinguish religion, ethnic, or political belief. That's coming from Kwankwaso. Tinubu, ahead of orchestrated game in America, says Onanuga. The last one says we are preparing for action in Nigeria. U.S. War Secretary is the one saying that. This one says a gas policy under threat as flaring worsen. In fact, I went to fill my gas last night and I was shocked that a kg was going for as high as 1,700 naira. Just 1 kg. I don't know where we are heading to in this country as it is right now. I think we need intervention because this is a household, should I say, this is more than even a household because a lot of people use it for different things.
Right.
There are cars that uses gas, people use gas for cooking and so many other things. We even have a CNG now, compressed natural gas, as it is. So I think something needs to be done ASAP. 2027 battle for PDP's soul deepens as faction digs in. Zenith Bank records 19,917.4 billion profit in 9 months as earnings rise to 16% to 3.37 trillion. Those are the headlines from the Vanguard newspaper this morning.
All right, so just one more paper. We're done with this segment of the show. The Guardian is our next port of call, and that will be our last paper for you today. Look at the left end of it, front page. It says, Trump's warning unsettles Nigeria, raises concerns over religion sovereignty. Those are details you would find on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper today. How DSS aborted Utomi's aberrative shadow cabinet through legal process. All right, NRC train derails 189th time, 3 days after resumption. Well, this is quite a conversation we should have in the course of the week. The issue of the rail system in our country and systemic issues that we continue to grapple with. This is concerning because it says it is the 189th incident as far as derailing of our train is concerned. Resident doctors, federal government clash over 48 billion naira arrears as strike paralyzes hospitals nationwide. Lastly, on the feet of the front page of The Guardian, NUJ decries surge in attacks, impunity against journalists. That's on page 30 of The Guardian today. Those are our headlines for you. Do well to read up details for yourself, and that way you can stay ahead of the news, avoid fake news and misinformation. Remember also that the headlines we'll bring to you here every other day on Global Morning are exactly as published by their respective publishers. Global Television or the team here on the program does not in any way contribute to them. We'll take a quick break. When we return, Ogochukwu Mobuno will bring you Social Buzz.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
The Global Morning crew, and good morning to you, our viewers. I am Ogochukwu Mobuno. It's a good day to look at what's buzzing on the internet. I must tell you that the social media space has been really busy due to a trending issue right now on ground that concerns our country, Nigeria. Yes, if you guess that, then you guessed right. So Donald Trump has issued threats to the Nigerian government over alleged genocide. The U.S. President Donald Trump, via his X page, issued a threat to the Nigerian government over the alleged continuous killings in the northern part of the country. In his post, he stated that if the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the USA will immediately stop all aids and assistance to Nigeria and may very well go into that now disgraced country, in quotes. He said, guns are blazing. to completely wipe out these Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. I'm hereby instructing our Department of War to prepare for possible actions if we attack. It will be fast, vicious, and sweet, just like the terrorist thugs attack our cherished Christians. He also said, warning, the Nigerian government better move fast. Okay, before we talk about this, I would like us to go through some comments as regards this issue. And the first one is coming from Incredible MC Jolly. And MC Jolly says, whatever this means, I just know that the families in Taraba, Southern Kaduna, Adamawa, Benue, and Plateau will be happy. You just can't keep killing the people and nothing happens. And when people speak for them, you say they don't trust the US. So who should they trust then? The next comment is coming from Victor IK, and Victor says, what some Nigerians accuse US of wanting to steal our resources. Same resources the politicians are stealing daily and is presently of no use to the common Nigerian who struggle to eat. Who the hell, as he says in his word, accuses their lender of wanting to steal from them? If you had enough, why reach out to borrow? The last but not the least comment today is coming from Okuro Fofi, and Okuro says, people are being killed instead of looking at the root cause and find solutions. Trump is threatening Nigeria with war, which is more killing. Somebody tell Trump we don't need that. We want peace in Nigeria. That's how he ends his comments. All right, thank you so much to everyone who dropped their comments. There are so much comments, but we just had to pick a few for the sake of our time. I'm not alone today in the studio. I have with me Uyi Agumofwege. Good morning, Uyi.
Good morning to you, Ogochukwu. I'm sure you had a great weekend, even with all of these very crazy news, right?
Of course I did. It was really crazy because I was on Twitter trying to follow up with tweets and what was going on and what actually was the end result. Also, we saw the reply of the president to the USA, to Trump particularly, letting him know that they are on top of the matter and, they are going to bring peace to Nigeria. But again, the comments, because if you check the comments, if we really have to go through a lot of those comments, everyone wants the USA to take over. They want Trump to do whatever it is he wants to do. But I'm a bit particular about this country. I feel like it's not really going to bring peace. That, just like the last commenter said, we need peace and not war in Nigeria. And I don't know if this action by Trump is really going to bring peace, in as much as we want all of this genocide, alleged genocide, and killings to stop in the north and every part of the country. What do you think,
Well, interestingly, there is a history of some sorts, if you like, call it background story to this conversation you and I are having now, which is going to stretch for the next few days or even weeks, depending on how we quickly respond and what our response will be like. It was Senator Ted Cruz of Texas that brought up this issue on the floor of the Senate in the U.S., all right? Then, of course, that was where we saw the escalation from. At that point, it looked like it was just going to be what some people call a storm in a teacup, which means something that is over hyped or exaggerated. But today, we know better. It has become a basis for tension between the United States and Nigeria. But away from all of that, what we are now more concerned about is how Nigeria as an entity, as a sovereign state, is responding to this threat by the U.S. president. First of all, let's look at some of the issues that we're probably also being, if you like, hypocritical about. The issue of Boko Haram, the issue of banditry, the issue of insurgency generally, add to that kidnapping and what have you. In the center of all of this, we're seeing Muslims, we're seeing Christians, we're seeing people in between, those who are not even religious in any way or as we know it, getting killed in the process. We're seeing mosques being attacked on a Friday during prayers. We're seeing Muslim communities being plundered, being destroyed, houses set ablaze. We're seeing Christians during worship on Sunday morning, during their midweek services, also being attacked by these assailants from all across Nigeria and West Africa. However, two things are very important at this point. How do we ensure that this does not escalate beyond this point, where America does not find basis enough under whatever circumstance to invade, so to speak, Nigeria? Because President Trump seems to be bent on taking out these terrorists. I mean, whether it's justified or otherwise. Then second, how do we also look back and ask ourselves with a sense of humility, all right, and sincerity of purpose, where have we missed it regarding how we have attended, or if you like, paid attention to the issue of killings in every part of this corner? Again, like I said, every life matters without religious appellation or affiliation. We've also heard arguments from people who say that churches have been attacked in the U.S. There have been, at least there has been a state where even the U.S. President Donald Trump called a killing field. Why have they not resolved those issues? But if you understand how international politics works, you get to find out that these things don't work like that, all right? These things are about interest. There are those who also argue that it's because Nigeria is tilting more towards China and Russia. It's because Nigeria refused to accept immigrants, or if you like, illegal aliens from the U.S. Is because Nigeria has refused to accept several of the proposals or overtures from the U.S. That's the basis for this sort of development we're seeing today. Whatever the case may be, what can we learn as a country, and how quickly can we learn that? And finally, what efforts are we putting in place to ensure that we resolve this issue as quickly as possible, beyond what the media aides in the villa are saying to justify their pay?
Okay, thank you so much. So one other question, I went through comments, and I was surfing the internet. Also, I went through X page, trying to get information, gather information about this particular threat by the U.S. government. And again, I saw comments of some old tweets of some, prominent Nigerian leaders during different administration, the Buhari administration and that of, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, and, how they called the government, the president, and, called his attention to the killing in the north. And even some of these people actually, they kind of tagged the U.S. president, the U.S. government to come to the aid of Nigeria and all of that. But then again, right now in this administration, most of those people who tweeted that during that government, they are denying it. They are acting as though, no, it is not right. Everything is fine in Nigeria. Don't say that. I'm not even trying to call names, but I'm going to call the name of one person right now. Example is Bayo Onanuga. I remember during the Buhari administration, he actually said some things that were not cool on social media via his X handle, and he said most Christians are being killed and nothing is even happening in the north. Nobody's talking about it. He tagged US aid, he tagged some other people, to come to the rescue of Nigeria. But only for him to tweet again this present administration to say the US, that they don't have any hand in the Nigerian politics, they shouldn't bring anything here, they shouldn't say anything about it, that these are all political, plots to make sure that they bring down or reduce the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So things like this actually make me question these people and ask them, are they really for the good of Nigeria, or they are all about the political thing like going on?
All right, those pictures have been flying everywhere. There's a particular one flying, that's so viral right now, where you have, for example, the current president, of course, then the leader of the ACN, as we knew it, right, or the AC, President Bola Tinubu. You also had his immediate predecessor, former, now late President Muhammadu Buhari. Then chairman or former chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Chief Dr. John Ojige Oyegu, who also is former governor of Edo State. And they had one or two other persons there in that meeting at that time, having a session, a discussion, obviously a very important one, with a representative of the U.S. government here in Nigeria. This was in 2014. Again, raising concerns around the killings in the north and other parts of the country. But let's focus for a second on Mr. Bayo Onanuga. Now, for those watching, Mr. Onanuga is a fine media executive from way back. He's a veteran by whatever standards or definition, right? He has done so much in this industry, this media industry in this country and beyond. You can't write the history of media in Nigeria and leave out the name and personality and, of course, the contributions of Mr. Onaduga. However, when you take up a role like this, you become more of a politician than a professional. We must establish that. We've seen that with people like Dr. Ruben Abati. We're seeing that with people like Frank Oweke Jr. We are seeing that with quite a number of people. Because whether you like it or not, there's a reason it's called political appointment. So when it's all said and done, your loyalty to your principal, who in this instance case is the president, must be seen to be unflinching and relentless. So that must be established. Second, politics is fluid. Well, politics may be consistent, but the interest in politics, that's the political interest itself, is fluid. Fluid in the sense that if I'm with Ogochukwu Mobuno today, there's the way I carry myself. There are things I say, there are narratives I push. When I move away from Ogochukwu Mobuno to Ramsey, Enoch Agbo, there's the way I carry myself. There are narratives I push as well, because these are two different entities with two different sets of interests. Long and short of the story is, who is having the conversation around the Nigerian interest, whether it is internal or as it has to do with our interface with the United States government regarding this row that Nigeria is now having with the US. I think those should be the concerns. And it's a lesson for politicians, Ogochukwu, like you brilliantly highlighted, that it must not always be about your politics, your political party, what your interest is, or the election that's around the corner, how you can be ahead of the game or your opponent. No. It must always be about the country. And that's why you see on the final note, the American people will always tell you they tell you for the love of country. That's always the motivation, for the love of country. People have criticized most of the things that Donald Trump has done, his policy moves and all of that. But if you look at it closely, if you understand how the American system works, you realize that for the most part, it is still for the love of country. So what will President Bola Tinubu do now under this circumstance for the love of country? What will all the politicians and all the sycophants and all the praise singers around him do now for the love of country? I think that should be the crux of our conversation going forward.
Thank you so much, Uyi. I really appreciate your contribution to this topic. Honestly, at the end of the day, every decision should be for the love of the country of Nigeria. So if Trump's decision is for the love of the country, well, we do not know. Thank you so much for being part of this conversation today. It is a social buzz here on Global Morning. I am Ogochukwu Mobuno. Until I come your way next time, stay with us as Global Morning continues.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Beautiful time we're having right on the program right here. Now we want to go talk about something very crucial. You can all know that this is an issue to talk about, and it's about the residents doctors strike. You know, one of the things that a lot of people use to express grievances, especially workers in Nigeria, is strike action. And it's as if we have a government that listens more to strike action than maybe meeting the needs of Nigerian workers ahead of time. A lot of damage controls have been done in the past instead of just ensuring that the damage is not being caused at all. Joining me on the conversation is Dr. Joseph Agogo, and Dr. Joseph Agogo is joining us all the way from Federal Medical Center in Makurdi. Dr. Joseph Agogo is a senior registrar at the Federal Medical Center in Makurdi. Is senior registrar obstetrics and gynecology. All right there. It's good to have you join us on the program this morning, Doctor.
Thank you for having me. Station.
Hello, Doctor. Can you hear me?
Thank you for having me in your station this morning.
Oh, all right.
Good morning, our out there.
Okay.
As he rightly introduced, Dr. Agogo Joseph Fiji.
Oh, okay. Let's get into talking about the strike action now. Resident doctors are striking, and of course our federal government pledges a 72 hours resolution. Why is the strike still on after the promise by the federal government?
Well, the issue of a strike in Nigeria has actually become something very, very appalling. It's a very, very bad thing, but the only, regrettably, the only language that the government of this country understand or listen to is strike. Strike, especially by the health workers, is not anything that any of us is happy to embark on in the first place. But when there are some compelling reasons and circumstances, and the only option you have to is just strike, you have no option than to resort to it. That is exactly what is happening. We feel the pains of our patients. The patients, the less privileged patient, the patient that do not even have the financial wherewithal to afford private care or even fly abroad, as like our politicians will always do. It's actually a very regrettable situation. Like the government, when you go embark on strike like this, those strikes, we do not just stand up one day and embark on those strikes. We normally, before we embark on those strikes, give an ultimatum, a time frame in which some of those our demands and resolutions should be given the needed government attention. But government, because of the fact that there is no any iota of sincerity on their side, they do not even want to do anything. They will prefer to just give lip services. They will promise something and they will never do it. They will give them, they'll give you all assurances, and when you return back to the hospital to work, they will just go back to and forget about everything. This strike that we're back on, it has actually something. There are issues that have actually lingered over several years. It's not just something we just stood up and embark on the strike. Okay, now take for instance, you are not telling me that I'm giving a promise that they're going to resolve everything within 72 hours and doctor return to work. That is not possible. That is not realistic, and that there's no element of truth in that statement. Because some of those issues that we're back on strike on, there are plenty issues that cannot just sit down one night and then try to like say they have resolved all of them. It is not a monetary gain alone. It is not a monetary issue. There are infrastructural issues, as well as the issue of stripping the resident of their well-deserved status, and so many other things that they need to sit at the round table and discuss, negotiate them, and then try to see how to find a common ground that will appease the doctors. So it's not just something about that, okay, we have received several billions that the doctors will go back on to work. It is not all about money. There are so many other issues that are involved. There are issues of issues that concern even a shortage of manpower, acute shortage of manpower in the health sector. So these are some of the issues that the government should, with all sincerity, sit down on a round table with those doctors and see how to iron. There are plethora of issues on science.
But then, as it is right now, Doctor, government is putting off an offer of some billions to handle this situation. Don't you think that's reasonable enough?
Well, it is, as I told you, it is not about a monetary offer. Yes, the strike we embark on is not, as I told you, it's not only a remuneration-related issue. There are a lot of issues that border on the welfare of the doctors, the resident doctors in particular, and also that will give them the opportunity, will give them the morals that will be able to offer effective services that will improve the outcome in the health sector. These issues are not just about government have sat down and say, okay, they have received 2 billion, they have received 3 billion or whatever, that the doctors should go back to work. It is not all about that. And another point to note too, some of those money that are being released, or they say they are releasing, they are not just only from resident doctors, they are for all the health, all the staff working within the health sector of the federal government. So it is not all about resident doctors. As resident doctors, we have our own peculiar needs, peculiar issues that prompted this strike that we have embarked on. Those issues have not been listened to. They have not been. The government have not sat down to hear from us or try to give the needed attention to some of those problems. So it is not about money. It is not about remuneration. There are plenty of issues, as I told you. So it's not about this money that we giving out. Yes, we do not reject the money because it is our entitlement. It is something that we have already. That were even long overdue. It is just because of the fact that there was no sincerity on their part. That is why, take for instance, the allowance of 25-35% that pay now. It is something that will do since 2023. The government reneges on the promise of paying their money, and it is only when you push them, they will just try to come out and give you something, which is not supposed to be so. So it is not that we are this money are just given to us like a kind of bonus, or try to make us happy, or try to pacify us, or try to bribe us to go back to work. No, it is our legitimate entitlement, and those monies are long overdue. They are supposed to be paid long ago. It's supposed to be delayed to this extent. So it is not about monetary issue or whatever.
All right, Dr. Joseph, there is something I saw on your status where that statement, that write-up was speaking to Nigerians, letting Nigerians know what doctors are going through. Like you talked about the fact that it is not all about the monetary benefits alone. I saw a situation where you were talking about using, is it a torchlight, to carry out your operations as doctors. That caught my attention. I can't really remember everything that was on that your status, but it was a write-up telling Nigerians of what doctors are going through. Can we have a snippet of those things?
Well, as you rightly asked, as I told you that it is not about monetary issue. We have a lot of infrastructural deficits. Most of these hospitals we are seeing, the federal government hospitals as the state or the state tertiary institutions, most of them are eyesore. If you see some of them, the environment alone does not depict that of a tertiary healthcare institution. Some of them, the basic infrastructure that you even need to work as a doctor are not there. Sometimes even power issue is a very big problem. You be on duty, the power supply is so epileptic, sometimes you don't even see at all. Sometimes you have to even struggle to use your phone or touchlight to see how to see your patient, to consult with your patient with your phone light and the rest. So there are a lot of infrastructural issues that the government need to sit up and give those hospitals a needed infrastructural facelift. So as a matter of fact, there are issues. Sometimes you know what to do, the knowledge as a doctor, but you don't have the equipment, the needed equipment to save the life of your patient who is dying. So there are a lot of issues that the government need to sit up. And unfortunately, they are not doing that. But that's because of the fact that they have better alternative abroad, where before, even if it is just common headache, they fly abroad with our taxpayers' money. And because of that, they do not want to see that to fix the health sector of this country. So it is a very appalling situation and something has to be done.
All right, I'm talking about trying to save life now. Let's look at this critically. Nigerians are also feeling bad that the doctors are striking. Now the question I want to ask is this. How do you plan to ensure patients' safety and well-being during this strike, particularly those that are having critical situation? Because I'm aware that in some hospitals in Nigeria right now, we may have people at the intensive care unit. How do the doctors, all right, plan to take care of these people who are innocent, all right, of what is happening right now between the doctors, resident doctors, and the federal government?
Well, before I answer that question, let me just give you basic information you need to know about the resident doctors. As we embark on this strike, as I told you, that we share in the plight of our patients. Patients are actually the ones to suffer it because it's like a case of two elephants fighting and the grass is we the one to suffer. That is exactly what is happening here. Although we are not elephants, it's only the government that is the elephant by trying to fight the doctors anyway. The issue is that the resident doctors, we are the one that form the backbone of the work in the tertiary healthcare institutions. We constitute about 60% within the tertiary healthcare institution. The fact that we have gone on strike now does not mean that we have closed down. The hospital has been closed down. We have the consultant on duty. The consultant actually they are the ones that own those patients. But we were the ones that see them day to day, interact more with them, see their condition, and then present them to our consultant who are like our supervisors. So in times like this, the consultant is supposed to come in and step in and see what they can do, even though their number is very, very small compared to the number of the resident doctors. And they may not be able to do even 1/4 of what the resident doctors are supposed to do. So in the end, most of the patients will still suffer it very, very well. So patients actually, as you said, as you know, patients are actually going to suffer. Unfortunately, too, the doctors, the resident doctors who have become the backbone of this workforce, have also been suffering. And before you can offer a very effective and qualitative healthcare service to your patient, you too as a doctor, you need to be fine. You need to be well motivated. Your welfare has to be taken care of. You have to be given an optimal environment where you can offer your best. But all of those things are what the federal government have deprived us of. The years we've been trying by all means to ensure that we give out our best. Unfortunately, the government is not encouraging us to give us our best. Even what is duly yours is not given to you. So what do you expect us to do? It's like you pushing, if you push a goat to the wall, the goat, you have no option than to show you that I have teeth to bite. So exactly that is exactly what is happening. Like, we're not happy with what is happening. We're not happy at all. Our patients are suffering it. Family members too, one way or the other, they are suffering it. Friends, relatives are suffering it. But we have no option than to embark on this, because this is the only way we will strive to ensure that the soul of the comatose healthcare system of this country is revived.
So now, what do you think are the expectations, all right, of the resident doctors from the government? If what the government has done so far is not satisfactory to the doctors, what is your expectation from the doctors so that this strike can be suspended ASAP? And the reason I'm asking this question is because I know a lot of Nigerians on social media everywhere. A lot of people are going to be writing so many things, so that at least if anyone wants to contribute to the situation, they will know what the doctors want at this point in time for this strike to be suspended for the sake of those in critical situations in the various hospitals.
Well, thank you for this question. As a matter of fact, we have a minimum demand for this strike, and our minimum demands are so. And this minimum demand, but it should be all or none, or at most up to tonight agreed upon, or something has to be done tangible about those 19 demands before we resume back to work. Because as I told you, it is not about the money. It is not about paying the outstanding areas. But there are so many other issues. Take for instance now, let me tell you, I'm a senior registrar. Earlier this year, I went for my part 1 exam. I passed the exam. And by virtue of that success in the exam, I'm now a senior registrar. Up to now, my advancement as a senior registrar has not been done because of some bureaucratic bottlenecks. They will tell you that the IPPS office in Abuja is here to do it, that they have centralized it, they have not been able to ratify the upgrade or whatever. This is one of the issues. Another issue too, as by virtue of this qualification, I am supposed to be given a specialist status. That specialist status comes with allowance, some special allowances that is attached to it, because I offer specialized services. So I deserve this. And unfortunately, the federal government sat down unilaterally on their side and tried to, downgrade that status, downgrade that qualification with no benefit. And it is not supposed to be so. Like other neighboring countries, by the time you become a senior registrar, you are ordered that specialist status with associated specialist allowance. But that is not done here. When you talk, we complain, they say that it was part of the routine government activity. Why will a routine government activity try to bring down people, or something that has been the status quo and they try to bring it down? Most especially that we are very precarious state of the health in the health sector, where we have a high level of brain drain. A lot of doctors have left the shores of this country for greener pasture. A few of us that have decided to show some level of patriotism or sacrifice for our nation to try to stay behind, instead of them to try to encourage or give us some incentive, they are rather depriving us of what is legitimately ours. And how do you think that the doctors, the morale of the doctors, yeah, it will work? So these are some of the issues. It's a very, very painful and very pathetic and appalling situation that we are crying to the entire world, to Nigerians. let Nigerians equally join us in this struggle. It is not all about the struggle to give us some financial benefit, but it's a struggle to save the healthcare sector of this country from collapsing. Because our government are not doing much at all. That is just a obvious and painful, regrettable truth.
All right. There is something you said that caught my attention. That's the issue of the fact that the consultants are few and they are not up to the numbers of the resident doctors. So now that resident doctors are on strike, it means some persons may lose their life or their situation gets deteriorated. Now, you also talked about the fact that your current status does not come with some of the necessary benefits that's supposed to come with it, like it's been done in advanced countries. And that brought my mind to the issue of brain drain in our health sector. But the federal government, on their own part, have been doing everything and preaching the gospel of doctors shouldn't leave the country, and even doctors that have gone should try and return back home. Now, what do you think about the stand of the federal government and the issue of brain drain in Nigeria?
Well, as I like say, brain drain, if I give you the breakdown of some statistics, in the last 10 years, we have over 16 resident doctors at the federal institutions. Right now, I'm talking to you, we have less than 9,000 of those doctors at the federal institution. Then at the state institution, tertiary institution, we have less than 1,500. And then some of those private institutions that offer residency training, we have less than 200 doctors in those facilities. To let you know that the brain drain has really affected the health sector. And the question you ask is that, do you blame those doctors? No. Because those doctors are not giving the needed attention, they are not giving the needed welfare benefit that will encourage them. Yes, you should know that being a doctor, you are not supposed to amass wealth. We are not trying to amass basic minimum, basic welfare package for us. Government is not doing anything to that. Most of the things you hear them say is just lip services. They do not match their words with a commensurate action. Some of those things, they only just say them to carry some political favor to themselves and win an election for the next or whatever. They don't say some of those things from their heart. They don't do the necessary thing to ensure that the infrastructure facility is given to the health sector to encourage the doctors to stay and work. You may hear them say, yeah, that doctors need to come back. It's not about saying it. It's not about.
All right. It's not about saying.
It's all about.
Okay.
To come back. But as I'm talking to you, and as I'm talking to you, there's nothing that the federal government is doing in that direction, and it is a very regrettable situation.
Oh, all right, Doctor.
So as it stands, stance of the government, that stance has been so encouraging to curb the menace of a brain drain. They have not done anything to encourage doctors to stay behind, or those people that are outside to come back, as I earlier said.
All right, Doctor, this 72 hours, all right, are being given by the federal government to resolve the situation. What should Nigerians be looking out for as it has to do with the outcome between the resident doctors and, of course, the federal government, who have promised 72 hours to resolve the situation?
Well, I'm not part of the federal government. I am on the part of the doctors. I'm a doctor. I'm also on the part of the doctors. I cannot speak for them. But I don't know what they have, the plans they have. I don't know how they're going to go about it. But yes, they have all it takes. If they want to resolve all those issues, even just within some hours, they can do it. So they have everything it takes to resolve those issues. But as I told you, I will assure you that our members, if those 19 demands are not given the needed attention, I can assure you that even the 72 hours window that the federal government promised, if nothing has been done tangible, I assure you that our members will still remain on strike until the needed attention and needed needed things that is expected by the federal government is done. Like I assure you that the strike will still continue. It is just a promise on their part. But let us just see how they will be able to match that their promise again with their necessary action.
But if they are not able to meet all the 19, and maybe a part of it is being met, let's say maybe 80%. What do you think if they are not able to meet the 19 points and they go like 80% or 85%? Would the doctors consider, because of the patients, of course?
Well, I've already, the fact is that we have already been considering our patients. Yes, I know that when you go to a negotiation, 100% of what you want, but there are some, but in all of those issues, as I told you, they are very, very important issues. They are not financial benefit alone. There are so many other issues. Like, take for instance, there were some doctors that were unjustly sacked just because they were fighting for improved welfare for their members in Federal Teaching Hospital, local government. Those doctors were sacked. Part of our demand for this strike is let the government reinstate them. There's excessive workload amongst doctors. You see a lot of doctors working, doing calls almost every day in the month. So because of the stress, even recently there was one of our colleagues, a resident doctor that collapsed and died in Port Harcourt. There are plenty of issues that all of those issues itemize, all those 19 issues. In fact, I don't even know which of them is more important than others. But all of them are very, very important. The government have to give all of them the needed attention. Well, as far as this strike is concerned, our minimum demand is the 19.
All right.
That's our minimum demand. Our question.
All right.
Things that the government can do if they do commitment and sincerity. It's something they can resolve within a short time. They can do them. It's not beyond
Dr. Joseph. Thank you very much, Doctor, for joining us today on Global Morning, all the way from the capital city of Abuja. You joined us from the capital city of Benue State, which is Makurdi. Dr. Joseph Agogo is a senior registrar obstetrics and gynecology, Federal Medical Center, Makurdi. So many thanks for joining us on the conversation today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me in your studio.
All right. Thanks for joining us. This is going to be the size of the first conversation. Coming up next is the second conversation with Uyi Agbomofuegbe. So much loaded for you today on Global Morning. Stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem?
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.